This is what Seattle's autonomous zone looked like as protests against police brutality gripped the city. Autonomous zones are temporary protest camps, each with its own set of specific goals. The protest site sprawled 6 blocks and a city park located in the Capitol Hill neighborhood.
Initially it was very like education based, and there was free food and art.
It was just community. I mean, it's my understanding there weren't like a bunch of restrictions, and like it was community orgs setting up and being like, hey, this is what we can provide today, or how many days they provided it.
CHOP, the Capitol Hill Organized Protest, was an occupation that followed a week of high tensions between Black Lives Matter protesters and the Seattle Police Department. In an effort to de-escalate the situation, Seattle Mayor Jenny Durkan ordered police to abandon the East Precinct.
There was a conflict with police, and they basically like flooded that area with tear gas, and then they ceded the precinct to protesters. And then it was just kind of like this organic thing that kind of sprung up. It was a pretty like leaderless, organic occurrence.
The creation of this police-free zone was heavily criticized by Republicans and President Trump, who threatened to take it back from protesters.
And you have a governor that doesn't do a damn thing about it, and you have a mayor that doesn't know she's alive. She's talking about it's going to be a love fest this summer. No, if they don't do the job, I'll do the job.
The mostly peaceful occupation became a flashpoint in the national debate over police brutality and the funding of police departments. Autonomous zones have been used as a protest tactic throughout history. More than a century ago, in 1871, the Paris Commune took place in protest of Napoleon's unpopular leadership in France. The people of Free Derry in Northern Ireland also used this method in 1969 when they banded together with demands of ending discrimination against the Irish Catholic community. And in a definitive recent example, Occupy Wall Street took over the financial district of New York City in 2011, with protesters demanding economic equality.
I think if you look at throughout the history of the labor movement and also other movements like civil rights and immigrant rights movements, you can see that occupations as a tactic play an important role in developing a larger movement. I wouldn't say that occupation by itself will be enough. And I think a lot of people understand through their own experience of building occupations like the Capitol Organized Protest or the Occupy movement in 2011, that the occupation is a very bold and courageous tactic. And it really is a dramatic way in which to inspire people.
Mayor Durkan is proposing that $200 million of taxpayer money should be spent on constructing a new police precinct in northern Seattle. The CHOP protesters demanded a 50% defunding of the police department, along with the redistribution of funds to community services and reparations to victims of police violence. The group also had goals for the actual area they were occupying. They aimed to create a safe haven for Black, brown, and homeless communities during unrest, and set out to educate people joining the movement on how to better organize and develop concrete demands to present to government.
There was a bunch of resources that were collected just from community orgs, and so people were able to get some healthcare, food resources without having to go, jump through hoops, and it was a consistent place. I think CHOP was very much something about community, and it was continuing to be about community. The people who were unhoused, who were there, the people that I've spoken with have demonstrated, hey, there was a place where we could get free resources, and there were some accountability communities when people suffering from mental illness, they literally just need a safe space to be.
My favorite part about CHOP was all the community teach-ins. I think the young, millennials, Gen Z, maybe sometimes overlook. But when political education was being emphasized at CHOP, it was something that we found very valuable. A lot of people don't know the ins and outs of and power mapping. and who are the stakeholders, who are the gatekeepers making these decisions. Teaching people that, yeah, I think targeting the mayor, targeting the police chief is a good thing, but do you know who controls the budget in the city?
But on June 20th, 12 days after police left the East Precinct, law enforcement returned after a shooting inside the protest site killed 19-year-old Horace Lorenzo Anderson. The incident sparked a debate about whether protesters could manage public safety. The mayor declared a public emergency and ordered police to dismantle the zone on July 1st.
Look, this is also a reminder that while occupations are an important tactic, we also cannot hope to create a utopia of the CHOP. It's also showing that by itself, it will not be able to accomplish much unless it also politicizes itself to winning further demands. And that's not to imply they are not already doing that. The movement is already doing that, but that's the part of the process, figuring that out, that we have to go beyond that.
The people behind CHOP inspired others around the country to follow suit. Cities like Portland, Asheville, Philadelphia, and Washington, D.C. have seen protesters attempting to create autonomous zones in their neighborhoods, but they have been short-lived. As for Seattle, protesters are still sticking to their list of demands.
We believe that even though CHOP is maybe not physically there anymore, we're not going to stop until the demands are met.